Andrew again with MT Binder, and today we're going to be talking about tarps. I've had the opportunity to use a tarp to sleep under overnight, and it was nice. What was cool about that is I was able to actually get my total pack size down to 28 liters, and it worked pretty well. So here's a couple of tarps that I happen to have, and I'd just like to show you some of the differences between them and compare prices on them. So here we have, and it's not an original bag, this is a gold armor, Amazon. Here's a stone glacier, Sky Tarp 10. This is the Seek Outside. I've got some other stuff in this bag. It actually backs down pretty small. And this is an Eno Profly Rain Tarp, and then the Alps Mountaineering Ultralight Tarp. These four here actually pack about the same size. This one is much larger. And then we're also going to talk about the Argali tarp, which I don't have, but I do have an Argali tent, and I think I can speak to the design as far as like comparing price and weight and materials and things like that. So I'm gonna get some of these set up and we'll go. Just so everybody's clear, this is kind of just a quick setup on the tent. But I do want to show you what I've been doing for a tent pole. I use a trekking pole like this. You want a relatively heavy duty one. I've used cheap ones and they're actually bent, and then ideally you're going to extend this middle section first. But I've got just a little piece, half-inch water pipe. Put a little bit of duct tape here to fill that in. Let's see that, it just kind of goes in there. That gives you your tent pole. So I usually use a little bit shorter one that ends up, closer to the length of a collapsed trekking pole, so that it fits in my pack with everything else. So there's that. So let's talk about something really quick. When you put your tarp away after a trip, if you just leave every string that's with it long, you need to wrap this stuff up, because now here I am. Imagine it was a hurry, raining or something like that, and I'm fighting to get this stuff all entangled. So taking the time to make sure your stuff's good to go is valuable. Come on, Ivy. Off. Ivy, get off. Okay. Go on. Ivy, place. Trekking pole in the middle, just like that, and Actually, that might go on the downside. I don't know. I just got this thing, so there we go. Tons of room in here. Is that why that trekking pole was knocked over? Ivy, did you knock it over? She's just beside herself today. Details on the Seek. It's 149 retail. Comes with seam sealer. It's got 16 tie outs around the perimeter, and it's a 30D nylon with a 3,000 millimeter hydrostatic waterproofing on it. The fabric is real nice. It also packs up really nice. You know, this is a pretty basic setup here with center trekking pole. You could do all the other kinds also, but you know, 2 trekking poles are able to actually set this up with no guy outs if you wanted to. So that's pretty neat. The Seek also does have the distinction of being the only tarp that I have here that is advertised as made in the USA. So it's made right in Colorado. That's kind of cool. The Seek outside is 19 ounces with no guy lines and including the stuff sack. Yeah, just settle, Ivy. Just settle. Stone Glacier is 13 ounces with the guy lines and without the stakes. It does come with stakes. It's 10D nylon, 10 perimeter tie outs, and then 6 tie out points. The mid tarp is 220. It looks like you can find them for about $189. So all of these tarps can be done different ways. This is one unique way of tying it out. It's not done well, but it's there. Stone Glacier also has some loops inside where you can run cord and you tie it off to something. Again, this is not a super pristine tie out, but the Dyneema guy out lines, these adjusters are pretty nice, and it does come with tent stakes also, so it's a pretty good deal. 10D nylon, yeah. So the Argali talus, I don't have one, but I kind of wish I did because they look pretty cool. It does have the center pole support like the Seek outside does, and it also comes with line lock adjusters on the guy out, and it's about 10 by 8.5, 20D ripstop sil poly, so it is different material. Most of the rest of these are still nylon, and then it's also got reflective materials on it. So this is the Argali tent here, and all of these points are reflective. You'd be amazed at what that does at night, as well as your paracord and stuff like that. So it really actually lights up, you know, at night in a headlamp. I love this material. I've had this since they first came out, so 3 years, I guess. And I'm sure that the Argali tarp is probably pretty phenomenal. So let's go to the gold armor. Oh, good girl. On the gold armor, this is a 10 by 12. The 10 by 10 on Amazon is about $40, so significantly cheaper. It definitely weighs more. This one's 37 ounces, so just over 2 pounds, where the other ones are real close to a pound. And it does include stakes. Really couldn't find much information on the material. It is waterproof. I've used it, you know, in the rain and stuff like that before. Definitely does not pack down as small. There's a ton of guy out points on it, as well as options for multiple ridgeline setups. So that's kind of nice. The stakes, I just poked through the nylon loop there. And then the Seek outside right there and the Argali, which I don't have, they both have a reinforcement for the center post. You know, something like this, you can kind of put, this is my cup, you could stick on there to protect it, or a glove or something else that you might have if you wanted to do this setup here. So the Eno Pro Fly This is about $85 on Amazon. It's a little bit heavier, 21 ounce. Saying it's 1,000 hydrostatic head PU for waterproofing. 70D ripstop nylon. I probably believe that. It's pretty thick. And it only comes with 6 guy outs. So this one's definitely designed for going over the top of a hammock. And it does that really well. This is my son's, and he uses it quite regularly. The line lock adjusters are real nice, and it also comes with a little hook on these ends. You can see I just went around a branch, but you could wrap that around a tree, so it's nice, or a few stakes or anything like that. And then with this hexagonal type cut, you can see it actually, you can pull from a lot of different directions and still get you know, good tight tension on that. So that's a nice, you know, medium budget type fly. So on the Alps, I didn't get set up. It's starting to get windy, and we've got cloud cover coming in. So this is the Alps Mountaineering. It's 12.5 by 10. It's about $95 on Amazon, $70 on Hiker Direct if you qualify for that. It has a 6-point catenary cut, 17 ounces, 20D nylon ripstop, 3,000 millimeter PU. As far as the fabric, it feels real nice. It feels very similar to the Seek as far as fabric goes. The seams are taped. It's made overseas. I like Alps as a brand just because of the support that they give for outdoor programs. You know, and it does come with stakes and guy lines. This is a brand new one that I just pulled out of our troops loaner box. You know, so it's never been put together and set up. You know, so it's pretty good. So as far as like, you know, squishability, packability, I think all of those things would be real good with this tarp. So all right, are we good? Okay. So my thoughts on these tarps as it comes to budget, you know, lightweightness, all of those kinds of things, because they do all matter. And there's more expensive out there, Dyneema, tarps, and Hyperlite, and a lot of companies make some fantastic products also. But as I mentioned, you know, the Argali, I've got the Argali tent anyhow, so I've got a pretty good understanding of how they build stuff and the fabrics and stuff like that. So you know, the Stone Glacier, Seek Outside, Argali, and the Alps. The Alps is a little bit thicker fabric, even though it does feel similar to what the Seek does. It's rougher, and so those three, the Argali, the Seek Outside, and the Stone Glacier, they're very smooth fabric, so I feel like they're gonna stuff really well. So as far as like just dropping them in the bottom of your pack, or say you know, putting them in your hydration pocket or something like that. The other ones, they definitely do better folded and rolled, so you know, for whatever that's worth. Stone Glacier, you know, is a very light color, so it's not going to block any light or anything like that. And the Stone Glacier Dyneema guy outs, those are nice. They're not smooth, and so, you know, they take a little bit of getting used to. Definitely, with any guy out, you want to pack them up neatly when you're done, especially if this is something that, you know, might be deployed in a rapid use situation, a rainstorm or something like that coming in. You know, some of these without built-in guy outs, you know, brush up on your knots, make sure you know how to do a Bolin, a Prusik, and, you know, some of those other knots to make sure that you can set it up easily and quickly. You know, the Argali, again, I have the same line lock that they have with their flies. I have the same line lock on my tent as they've got on the tarp, so I'm sure that those will be nice. Seek outside, Argali, you've got that center pole, which is handy. I'm having trouble with the center pole on the gold armor. It's fallen out again already. I've used it that way before, but this setup is not very, it's pretty quick. So the gold armor is fantastic for truck camping, things like that. It's better than as far as lightweightness and stuff like that. It's better than, Harbor Freight blue tarp for sure. And I like it. It stays in my truck. Alps Mountaineering also makes a utility tarp that would be pretty similar to that gold armor, as well as a lot of other people. And then again, the Eno and that Alps that I mentioned before, definitely designed to be used over a hammock setup, and they appear to be very well designed for that. And I wouldn't hesitate to use them in that situation. It's probably not what I'm going to bring if I'm backcountry hunting or something like that, just because of the lack of extra guy outs and stuff like that. It's just less flexibility. So all of these are nice though, for sure. The stitching, on the Seek Outside and the Argali, the Seek, I love the Seek because of one, it's made in the USA, which is kind of nice. But it's also, you can tell, like, the construction is very high quality. Stone Glacier is high quality also. But you are paying for that. And actually it's back ordered right now, and it has been for quite some time. So I got this one used for a very, very good deal. And then it would be remiss of me to not give a shout out to the Seek Outside guys. If you happen to listen to their podcast, and I got to figure out how to put links on these things, but they're giving away one of these DST tarps on each podcast to one of their subscribers. So that's kind of a neat, subscribers and commenters. So that's kind of a neat deal. That's where this came from. That's not why I'm reviewing it. I've just been more into it, the tarp kind of stuff as of late, and exploring the use of just having a tarp for some earlier season, October hunting this year. So that's kind of where that's at. A lot of people ask about bugs and things like that. I set up in a bad spot. There's bugs all over here. It's pretty bad, actually. Well, that's because we're so close to the river. And that's just the way that is. I sleep with a quilt anyhow. And it's really not been a problem. What are you getting into? What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? I sleep in a quilt, so I'm wearing my pants to bed. If it's buggy, I put a bug net on. I've been sleeping with the floorless Argali for 3 years now, and really not like having problems or complaining about anything. And not one time I did get eaten up a little bit. We were camped right next to a lake. I didn't have everything that I would have normally packed for that trip, so that's kind of what happened. So but I'm gonna go ahead. There's a lot of different ways to set up tarps. Here's a few. You've seen a couple of them. Of course, A-frame is very, very common also. Argali, Seek Outside, Stone Glacier, those three in particular have some very good tarp setup videos, of course, around their tarps, so that's what they are. I in particular like the idea, this will be the first time for me, of setting up a tarp as an entryway on my Argali tent. So I'm looking forward to working the kinks out of that. I think my trekking pole isn't quite tall enough, so I'll use a stick, or we'll use something else and mess with that a little bit. So that's what that is. But anyhow, there's the story. I'm sticking to it. So thanks for watching. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. I appreciate it if you subscribe, listening to my ramblings. Hopefully in the next year or two we'll have the Scout project picking up again, and we'll go from there. So as of right now, Ivy needs a treat because she's being a good girl, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. God bless.